Hi all, it's Michelle from Cozyegg, and today is Wednesday, December 11th, 2024, and I think that this is episode 146. So, where were we? It has been a little while since I did a formal sit-down video, since obviously I do vlogging almost exclusively in October, and my week 4 October vlog, Dark October vlog, was I think my last video. So here we are. So if this is your first time joining, I'm glad that you're here. Hopefully you find something that you find interesting and cozy and something that you just vibe with. And if you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. I know that there are tons of Flosstubers out there, and while I am not one that people are constantly, hounding, hey, when are you going to record another video? I know that there are those of you that do really appreciate my videos and are very supportive, and I thank you for that. So I appreciate all of the likes and the comments and the subscribes. So thank you for being here and taking this ride with me. So let's see what has been happening since I saw you last. So obviously, November happened, and we are now almost halfway through December. I do not have my Christmas decorations up. In fact, I only got my Thanksgiving fall, kind of decorations up like right before Thanksgiving. But technically speaking, this is actually a Christmas quilt. I know it doesn't look like it because of the color palette, but this is the first quilt that I ever made. And I took a class, and so it's a sampler quilt because they're trying to, build your skills block by block. And so when I went to pick out fabric, I absolutely fell in love with this fabric that was partridges and pears. And the fabric, like my main fabric, is like here. You can't see it, obviously, and it's in this border. But because it had, these blues and golds and purples in it, that's sort of what we, sort of plum color, that's what we picked up in the other fabrics. And it turned out looking very fall-like, even though it was a Christmas fabric. And I actually named this quilt My True Love Gave to Me because of the partridges and pears, and also because I finished it on the same day that Eric took me to see a 12 Days of Christmas thing at the Dallas Arboretum. So anyway, all that to say, I don't have my Christmas decorations up yet, and we'll see. We'll see. But whatever, Christmas quilt. So Eric and I were also both sick during the month of November, and I do not get sick. So when it happens, it kind of throws me for a loop. And I will be honest, I don't know if it was just really, really bad allergies or if it was a cold. I never ran a fever. I was just, feeling run down and had a lot of bleh. So, but it took me out for a little while. The other thing that has been going on is with Tutmos. I took him in to the vet early to mid-November, and I took him in because I was concerned about his breathing. because it was very rapid and shallow. And so we did a bunch of tests and x-rays and all kinds of things. And his, one of his test results, his heart enzyme test came back really high. So the vet sent us, referred us to a cardiologist. So we went to the cardiologist, and they ran another series of tests, EKG and all of that good stuff, and determined that he has congestive heart failure as well as cardiomyopathy, and it's pretty severe. So we were given a prognosis that is not good. We have also started him on medication, and we're just going to kind of play it by ear, and ensuring that he has quality of life and that he's, you know, comfortable and all that good stuff. So that's where we're at. And, you know, he and Ramses are both 12. They're brothers. They came from the same litter. And obviously we got them both at the same time. And so with Ramses, you know, being diagnosed with diabetes back in July, and us, you know, treating that, and now with Tut's heart issues, it's a lot. So anyway, so that is what is going on with Mr. Tut. And, you know, you guys, you know him well, because he is my constant companion. He is I call him my shadow, because he is always with me, except for, ironically, right this moment. But he is my boy. Ramses is kind of Eric's boy. And so, yeah, so that's where we're at with that. So needless to say, there's been a lot going on, and so here we are. And so we're going to talk some cross stitch, and we're going to talk a little books, and we're going to talk a little Jingle Ball, and yeah, that's what we're going to do. So let's get into it, shall we? All right. So first off, what have I been stitching on? Well, I'm sure it comes as no surprise that I'm continuing to work on this model stitch. This is Henrietta Peaver. This is an antique sampler that I am reproducing, and I've shown some of her, you know, kind of along the way. So here is where I'm at, and this is the model, and I am stitching this on 40 count Bee's Knees by Seraphim with NPI silks, and Olivia B from Hillside Rookery did the initial conversion for me to NPIs, and then once I, you know, had them, you know, kind of next to the sampler, I needed to make some adjustments. So Christine from Hollis Hands Create actually helped me a little bit with making some modifications on a couple of the colors that I just wasn't sure about. So yeah, but I'm very pleased with how this is coming out. I'm not going to take this out of the Q-snap because I literally just put it in the Q-snap. But here is, I will show you as much as I can. There is a verse that's going to go in that large center square, and you can see the bottom border there. You can see part of that little brick house that I'm so in love with. And the verse on the antique is over 1, and I am actually charting a different verse and charting it over 2. So you can do either. I will provide both in the chart, but I just wanted to kind of get everything else in here before I do the verse. So that's what I'm working on. But I love the colors. I love how this is coming along. You can see my swan needle minder there. But yeah, I really, really love it. So I'm continuing to work on this, and it'll get done when it gets done, right? After, I took a break from that to do Dark October stitching, and of course you saw all of that during my October vlogs. Once we got into November, I went back to my Sunday stitch along with Olivia from Pumpkin Hollow Quilts, and we are working on His Eyes on the Sparrow on Sunday nights. And so here is where I'm at. I had been kind of working on all of these little motifs here and working my way through that. And I've now, as of November, I've now started on the tree. And so this is maybe 2 or 3 Sundays, I don't know, of work. So I'm working on the tree. It is not exactly where it is supposed to be, but it's going to stay there. So this is where the snake goes, where he is wrapped around the tree. So that's what that situation is. But this tree takes a good bit of counting and concentration. So I will leave that as to the reason why I don't have more done. But I'm stitching this on a 48 count Gonder linen that was hand dyed with the called for threads, but because this is 48 count, my thread colors look quite saturated, so, which I love. And you may notice this change here. So this is where that, goofy Scooby-Doo looking dog goes, and I replaced it with a sparrow. And this sparrow actually came from Beth Twist's, one of her freebies during the beginning of the pandemic. She had a little freebie that had this little sparrow on it. So I lifted that and used it. So I'm been working on that on Sunday nights with Olivia, which I love, and we'll continue to do that. I've not gotten back to my Hawk Run Hollow that I've been working on Friday nights with some friends, Shores of Hawk Run Hollow. I'm really trying to get this model done. So, yeah. So, those are the 2 things that I've worked on since October, but stitching wise. But I did have something else that I worked on and I had to finish. So I think I mentioned in one of my vlogs that my craft closet is a complete disaster and it's driving me crazy. And part of what I think contributes to the problem in there is that I have all of these unfinished projects, not just stitching projects, but other things that are in there, and that I have planned projects in there, like things that I haven't started yet even. And so I just have all like the bits and parts in there. And I had mending in there and, you know, just all sorts of stuff. And so I have been slowly kind of trying to chip away at what's in the closet. And when I, you know, talked about it on my vlog, I did have a few people recommend some, you know, different kind of storage solutions. And honestly, no amount of storage is going to help my problem. That's just, I appreciate it, but I just need to deal with some of these things that are in there and get them out of there. There is a person that I follow on Instagram that does a lot of organization and tidiness and, you know, that sort of content. And one of the things that she talked about is that clutter is just unfinished projects of one sort of or another. It's either things you haven't put away, things you haven't done, things you need to do, you know, etc. So, and that really kind of hit home for me. And that is absolutely what is the problem in that closet. So it is a very tiny closet, but most of my problem is I have stuff that needs to be dealt with. So in an effort to do that, I pulled all of the things out that needed to be mended and did that. I had something that was broken that needed to be glued. I dealt with that. And I had some things in there that really just needed to either go to the trash or recycling or the donation pile. So I dealt with that. I'm working in layers, so I'm sure I will find more. But then one of the things that was in the closet is a project that I started a while ago for Eric. And I think that I have shown this on here before, but he wanted me to make him these mala beads, which are prayer beads. And so I got this out and finished it. And really, I had strung all of the beads. The only thing left to do was I needed to add this guru bead and make the tassel and add the tassel. That's really all I needed to do, but it has sat there for months just needing that. So these are hematite beads. So they're kind of like a gunmetal gray. I know they're sort of reflective, so it's hard to see what color they actually are. And they are quite heavy. So, but there's, you know, 108 beads, and use this kind of like a rosary for meditation. And then we have the guru bead here, and then I made the tassel. So, but this is hand knotted, and so there are knots between each of these beads, and they're not as tight as I would like them to be, but you know, done is better than perfect. So, but that is what took all of the time, is that I would have to slide one on, knot it, slide one on, knot it, you know, etc. So, but this is now finished. So I gave this to Eric, and he was very pleased with it, very happy to have it, and it is now out of my closet. So the other thing that I did in my closet is that I had a ring of old willow stitchery threads that someone had given me, and which I very much appreciate, and I have used them multiple times, like subbed in, you know, colors I didn't have on projects, etc. But they did not need to be living in my closet on a ring in a bag. So I took them out and I have inventoried them and put them on my inventory list, my thread list. And then I went through and I actually put them in one of my thread boxes. I made room and I put them in one of my thread boxes with the rest of my overdyed threads. Imagine that. Genius. So those are now out of the closet. I mean, and that was a big thread. So that is out of the closet. I'm so happy. So I'm just working my way through. There are things that are in that closet that I know I'm going to be getting rid of. I just haven't made it down to them yet, but I am in like full on organization, nesting, cleaning mode right now. And so I'm just like, I just want to take a trash bag and just go through things. But I also have a limited amount of time, so we do what we can. But very thrilled to have the mala beads done, very thrilled to have those threads out of there and a couple of other things dealt with in the closet. Yay. All right. Then this past weekend, I attended Jingle Ball, and I have my Jingle Ball t-shirt on with my new cozy sweater. This is now like my official uniform because it has a swan on it, you know. And as soon as I saw that the t-shirts had swans on them, I was like, well, I'm gonna have to have that, of course. So, Jingle Ball t-shirt. I'd never been to Jingle Ball before, and you know, I'd kind of looked at it the past couple of years. Nothing kind of, you know, spoke to me and said, you absolutely must do this. But this year when I saw Stacey Nash's project, I was like, okay, you absolutely must do this. Because it's rare when something just comes across, you know, my eyeballs and I gasp and say, I love that. So I decided to sign up for my first time. I signed up for Stacey's class, got the kit, and quite pleased with that. And what I will say is I had a fantastic time. You know, I was not able to participate the whole weekend, but, you know, Saturday particularly, I had set aside so that I could spend it, you know, doing the Jingle Ball. And it was cold and rainy here, and I had the space heater on because this room gets a little chilly with these windows. And Tut was here with me napping, and I just had the Jingle Ball on, and I was stitching on my, you know, my piece, and it was just an absolutely lovely, cozy day. It was perfect, you know, and it had taken Tut a few days to recover from being at the cardiologist. He doesn't do well with being sedated, and so in the time that it took that to get out of his system, basically what happens is he just has a bad reaction to it and he gets very anxious and cannot settle. And so Saturday was the first day that he was actually calm and quiet and could actually rest. And so it was just perfect. It was a perfect day. So I you know, tried to watch as much of the content, you know, the main ballroom content as there was. I went to some of the designer meet and greets, which was fun. I did not do whip speed dating. I went into, I guess Saturday night, I went into the Frosted Pumpkin stitching room, and I hung out in there for a while, which was fun. And, you know, it's just kind of laid back, which I needed that. And I just really had a good time. And the Stacey Nash class was at, 5 o'clock on Saturday night. And so did that. That was perfect. And I had a really, really good time. And for someone that is not typically able to attend retreats or workshops, what Stephanie from Lindy Stitches has done with this is really just amazing, because it really makes it, inclusive to people that can't travel. So I was very thankful for it, and thankful that I could do it from, my own home with Tut next to me. And, I could kind of dip in and out as I needed to over the weekend. And, it was $10 for the, the Jingle Ball itself. The class, of course, was extra in the kit, but for $10, you can't beat that. So I didn't have any technical issues. Everything worked really smoothly for me, and I was really, really pleased that I went. I will definitely be, going back in the future for sure. So let me show you the Stacey Nash kit. And this is the project bag that Eric's Mala beads have been sitting in. So I was like, ooh, now I've emptied a project bag. I put my Stacey Nash kit in here. It was beautifully packaged. And so here is the piece, which you've probably seen all up and down Instagram. But this little gingerbread house sewing book, I couldn't resist it. And so that's the front of it. This is the back of it. Look at those little mice and the little fireplace with the stockings. And then this is the inside. So it's got this beautiful wool felt pocket. And then you can attach a ribbon here, to attach your scissors or a hoop or, your threads, whatever. And it's just beautiful. I don't typically buy kits. I typically, and I try to be kind of frugal, and I figure I'll kit things up myself. But I thought with the ribbon and, the finishing fabrics and the wool and everything, I'll just get the kit. So the class was very good. This was actually my second time taking a class with Stacey. She had come to the Tudor Rose Sampler Guild several years ago, and we did a drum and a sewing roll. And so I've actually had a class with her in person, and she said this was her first time teaching virtually, so that was fun. Maybe she'll do more of that in the future. So here is, this is on Ween Beans linen, and there are all the colors, weeks, threads. This is the linen that goes on the inside, and then this is the wool. Isn't that pretty? So just beautiful. Oh, and here is the ribbon. Really beautiful. Obviously, as you can see, I did not do my pre-stitching. I'm a pretty slow stitcher, which if you're new here, news alert, I'm a pretty slow stitcher. So I knew there was no hope of me getting that done in time. And, I didn't want to feel rushed. And so I just, continued to work on my model. And I figure, this will be kind of my reward when I'm done. is I will be able to work on that. While I was there, you know, all of the designers that were participating had some exclusive charts and other charts in their shops. And I finally broke down on Sunday and I bought 2 of Stacey Nash's charts. And I don't typically share stash enhancement. That's just my own thing, but I thought I would share these with you. So, because I was pretty excited about them. So she had 3 new animal crackers, and one of them is an elephant, one of them is a penguin, and then there's this one that is the Arctic fox named Blizzard. And I just got the PDFs. So, but I was just like, oh my goodness. Look at his little cup of cocoa. Or her cup of cocoa. Just, I mean, I couldn't resist it. And then, you know, since we're talking swans, I couldn't resist this either. I just thought this would be so pretty, like as an ornament on the tree. And I love that it has the swan, but then it has this forest up here as well. And this is called the Swans a Swimming badge. I love it. So those were the 2 things I could not resist. And then of course today I see Needle in a Haystack XO Annie posting about this stitch along that she's doing for the new Kathy Barrick stocking, which has a swan on it. And I'm just like, why? Why are you tempting me with these things? So far I've resisted that, but I really love the wintry color palette on that. Like, it's not Christmassy per se, it's more wintry. And yeah, swan. So swan. So yeah. So anyway, those were the 2 charts that I bought at the ball, and quite pleased with it. I had intended to kind of pull some of my Christmas whips that I have, but they're in deep storage, so I didn't get them out in time. And Eric is in teaching a class, so I had to like scramble and grab all of my stuff. So I only have 1 to show you. And this is probably of, you know, any of the pieces that I want to work on this month or this season, this is probably the most important of them. This is the sampler that I'm doing as a memorial sampler for my mom. And this is the Janet Reed sampler from Chessie and Me. Apologies for my printer quality, but I probably should have said that when I showed you those PDFs, but whatever. And I am stitching this with the called for Gentle Arts Simply Wool threads, which are so fun to stitch with, and they're perfect for this time of year, I think. And they just give such a nice texture to your piece. They're fun to stitch with. You just do 1 strand, but you do have to do it on a little higher count, or lower count. So you can do it on like 28 count or 32 count, and I think I'm doing mine on 32 count. So really pretty. And these are, you know, I think readily available. I got these from 123 Stitch, so they're not hard to source. So, and then I'm stitching this on, I think it's cookie dough from Needle Bling, which just looked sort of gingerbready to me. It does not come across the correct color on this camera, so it has a little more red to it. I say that and I know what I mean. You may not. Like, I'll put it, it is more a cinnamony color than comes across here. But here's where I'm at. I've got basically the top half done that has all the alphabets and all of the initials. I did change the initials to be family initials. And I am planning on personalizing this with my mom's name, since this is going to be her memorial sampler. And I showed you in one of my last videos that hallway that we have where I have the sampler, the memorial sampler I did for my dad. And I need to do one for Eric's mom as well, but I'd really like to get back to this. My intention was to have, I started it last year for her birthday, which is at the solstice. And my intention was to have it finished by this year on the solstice, which obviously is not going to happen, but it would be nice if I had the opportunity to work on this some this season. So that is my only Christmas whip that I can show you. I really only have probably 2 or 3 more. I think one of them is an ornament, and then I've got 2 other pieces. So maybe I'll try to dig those out for next time so I can show them to you. Because who knows if I'll get to stitch on them. I'm really ready to be finished with this model so that I can stitch on some seasonal things. Or really anything I want to. So, okay. So that is it for the stitching. That's what I worked on. I thought I would share with you what I have been reading since I last talked to you. So I think the last book you probably saw me read was Black Rose, which was part of my Dark October reads. And then after that, I picked up, so like right at the beginning of November, I picked up my next book for the Sampler Guild of the Rockies book club. And it was The Seamstress of New Orleans. And this was really good. It's by Diane McPhail. This was really good. I enjoyed it. It had a little twist there at the end that honestly I was not anticipating. But I thought this was really good. Historical fiction, as are a lot of the books that we read for that book club. So then from there, I picked up The House at Watch Hill by Karen Marie Moning, and this was my November selection for my book club, the Absinthe and Shadows Literary Society. And so this was a brand new release from Karen Moning, and it came out, I think, on October 1st. It's a brand new series, and this was really good. I very much enjoyed it. And it is quite different from her Fever series, which is like one of my favorite series of all time. But I think this, you know, is good in its own right. Like, you know, not even comparing it to the Fever series. I think this is very good, and I very much enjoyed it. We had a great discussion about it at the book club, and I'm really looking forward to, I think it's going to be a trilogy, so I'm really looking forward to the next 2 books because it kind of ended on a cliffhanger. So this was really good. Very much enjoyed that. And while we were talking at the book club, we got to talking about Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. And I, of course, love the ACOTAR series. I love the Crescent City series. I've never read the Throne of Glass series, and it has been sitting on my shelf for over a year. And so we got to talking about it on our book club discussion, and they basically talked me into reading it, like going ahead and starting it. So we're kind of doing a read along, an informal read along of that. So that's what I picked up next. And there is some discussion about whether to start with this book or whether to start with Assassin's Blade, and they recommended starting with this one. So this is what I started with, and I really enjoyed this. It took me a while to read it, and I think that was just more due to everything that I had going on than the book itself. But I found myself thinking about this a lot when I was not reading it, and honestly, I'm still thinking about it. So this was really good. Highly recommend. I'm very excited to read the next book in the series. So I finished that, and then I had a hold come in on a book at the library that I had been waiting on for like months, and that was The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst. And unfortunately, so my hold came in, I went ahead and checked it out so I wouldn't lose it. I finished Throne of Glass, but then I only had like a week left on my checkout to read this, and I did not get it finished. So it took it back, the library took it back yesterday, and I was unamused. So not thrilled. But, you know, it's my own fault because I wasn't watching when it was due, and I should have been. But I have put myself back on the hold list, and so at some point I will finish that book. But so far, I was very much enjoying it. It's kind of a cozy fantasy, and I'm enjoying it. So far, highly recommend. Then I realized that the next SGR book club is tomorrow night. So I figured I should probably get that book out and read that, which is The Crafternoon Social Club. And I hope it's a quick read because book club is tomorrow night. And I think I'm only 4 chapters in. So there we go. But when I finish that, I will read the second book in the Throne of Glass series, Crown of Midnight. Very excited about that. So I'm hoping that this is, ooh, that's new. I'm hoping this is the correct book. Yes. So this is the next one I get to read. Very excited about that. So that's what I have going on. And I have selected the next 2 books for my book club. We have the next discussion is in January, and then the one after that is in March. So we do it every 2 months so that it's plenty of time to read the book. And I will, of course, be doing videos about those when the time gets closer. But the next book is called The Fox Wife. And then the one after that is called The Scholar and the Last Fairy Door. So excited about those, and really excited about the Foxwife because I wanted something wintry. Perfect for January. So, ironically, anyway, okay, so I think that might be it for me. Maybe. So that's, yeah, I think that's all that I have. And I am going to continue to work on my closet and continue to work on this model and see if I can get it done. And I will try to finish my book for book club tomorrow night. And then maybe I can stitch on some of these winter projects that I have. That would be nice. That would be really nice. So maybe the next time you see me, I'll even have my house decorated for Christmas. It could happen. So, those of you that have already sent me notes about Mr. Tut and your well wishes for him, I very much appreciate it. And we're just gonna take it one day at a time, and I'm just gonna love on him as much as I can in the time that we have. So yeah. All right. Awkward. Yeah. All right. I think that's it. So I will see you hopefully again before Christmas, and I hope that you are enjoying your stitching and your reading, and you're having a lovely, cozy winter time. And thanks for checking in. I really appreciate it, and I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. And I'm grateful for your friendship and you watching my videos, and that you appreciate the vibe that I have going on. So thank you. All right. Happy stitching.